Donald Trump has now announced that in addition to the federal and state level funding that will go to the hurricane recovery in Texas and Louisiana, he will also personally donate $1 million. Maybe, we'll see about it, because when his representative, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, was asked by a reporter if she knew whether Trump's donation would be, quote, coming from his own money or from the Trump Foundation, Sanders said, I haven't had a chance to do that, to find out. She also couldn't say where the money was gonna be donated to, or basically any information that would lead you to believe that his assurance that he's gonna donate this money is anything more than a offhand comment that isn't going to amount to anything. Now, whether it comes from his money or the organization's money is not an academic question. Trump hasn't personally donated to his charity since 2008. He might well not remember that it exists. Now, it does get money donated from other people, and so perhaps he'll feel free to donate $1 million of someone else's dollars to the hurricane recovery, but I wouldn't even guarantee that. In addition, if you want to get into the idea of whether Sarah Huckabee Sanders is at all sure that this is actually going to happen, look at her response to another question. She said, he actually asked that I check with the folks in this room, the press room, since you are very good at research and have been doing a lot of reporting into the groups and organizations that are best and most effective in helping and providing aid. And he'd love some suggestions from the folks here, and I'd be happy to take those. Wow. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so a couple of things here. First of all, he said the same thing after Superstorm Sandy. And in fact, he promised Governor Chris Christie's wife that he would give $1 million. He said, just tell me what the number is and I'll write the check.
Yeah, how much does the check need to be? Just tell me and I'll send it.
And
oops, never happened.
Guess how much he spent? Nothing, donut, yeah. Okay. The guy is a notorious pathological liar.
But really fast, we don't need to go back that far, because earlier this year he said he would donate $1 million to a veterans group after repeatedly pissing them off. Journalists thankfully followed up on that months later, and only in response to that investigation did he finally donate the money when the weight of public shame was on him. But he wouldn't have done it otherwise.
But on that one, he goes, oh, yo, fake news, I was gonna do it anyway. Like, it's like the classic liar. Oh, yeah, I was gonna do it anyway, right? But in that case, at least after the shame, he gave the money. For Sandy, he said, I'm going to give $1 million. He never did, not a dollar, nothing.
What I don't understand is why he keeps getting himself in the same mess over and over again. You don't want to donate the money. You haven't donated the money unless there was tremendous public pressure forcing you to do so. So stop saying that you are going to personally donate any money. Look, I get it. There are people who will fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. They won't read the follow-ups. They won't know what really goes on. And they'll think, oh, what a stand-up guy. He's donating this money. But look, the vast majority of people who are skeptical of his claims do follow up, and they do know that he's lying about it. And not only that, there were veterans that were very supportive of him during the election, and now they're kind of raising their eyebrows and realizing, oh my God, he's actually not interested in supporting us whatsoever. He used us as props. So he's really just hurting himself. I don't want to give him advice to help him, so keep doing you, boo, right? But at the same time, like, it's amazing how astonishingly stupid he is.
Well, look, I don't know about this. So let me explain why he does it. A literal answer to your question. First of all, in the past, when he was a celebrity, no one ever followed up. So he would say, I'm giving $1 million. No one bothered to check 6 months later, a year later, if he ever did give the $1 million. And he would get headlines. Donald Trump, sometimes they say offers $1 million. Sometimes they say gives $1 million. And since he never got caught on his lies, he thought, there's no consequences. Every time I get this wonderful benefit of great publicity for myself, and I seem like a wonderful person, and then I never give the money, that's no cost. These idiot reporters never check up. Now it's different because you're president, you were running for president, people found out. But now the problem is it's become pathological. That's why I call him a pathological liar. He can't help himself. If I had him here in this room, and like you say, hey, whatever is provable, is there a mug in front of you? There could be a mug in front of him. Like, no, there isn't. As long as it suits his purposes, right? And so, is your hair orange? No, it's not. It's black, right? He can't help himself because he's had over 70 years of lying with no consequence.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then finally, the third part of why he does it is because there is some logic in it. It's actually what the Pentagon does a lot. It's because of what I'll just invent a term right now: disproportionate headlines. So when we launch a bomb and it kills civilians, the Pentagon comes out super strong and says it's not civilians. because they know that's the only day anybody's gonna pay attention.
Yeah.
And so all the headlines will say, not civilians. Pentagon says not civilians.
Pentagon says not civilians.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then
when we find out
6 days later or 6 weeks later, Pentagon will say, oh yeah, well maybe it was, and it was a little bit, and we're still looking into it. That goes in page A17 or A27 of the paper. It never makes it onto TV. They're way past that story. And then when you call them out on the lie later, the Pentagon goes, no, 6 weeks later I did a correction. And that's Donald Trump 101. Trump gives $1 million. By the time you do the correction, that's Hurricane Harvey's passed, Sandy's passed. Well, nobody called him out on Sandy until now.
And we also, we have that in this exact thing in his family. So he said he's gonna give the money. There's no proof that he's going to. His son, Eric or Jojo or whatever his name is, he goes and says CNN's never gonna report on it, fake news. CNN had already reported on it 3 hours earlier. I don't think a lot of people pay attention to him because look at his face, but he said it and the supporters will hear it and think, oh, fake news CNN. And when CNN later says, hey, we totally reported on this, even though we probably shouldn't have because there was no proof of it, they're not gonna hear that because they don't watch CNN. And so it works really well for him. But I wanna contrast Donald Trump, who is a little a weenie, a guy who's not as rich as he says he is. It's another reason why he continually says he's gonna donate $1 million, because that sounds like something a rich person would do. And he sees actual rich charitable people do it, and he wants to do it. So you have him saying he's gonna give $1 million and probably never actually will. But there are people who are raising a lot of money. So an athlete from the region, JJ Watt, is a football player, right, JR?
Yeah, I think for God's sake.
I know he's a football player. Anyway, he decides to help organize for fundraising, and so he sets a goal of he wants to raise $200,000 for the effort, which is a ton of money, of course. And he's not as rich as Donald Trump says he is. And he does raise the $200,000. But he effed up because he just kept raising money after the $200,000. And this graphic's gonna be a little bit out of date. You're gonna see the most recent number for that. And that is over $15 million that he's raised.
That's amazing.
That's more than 1.5 million more than I saw first thing this morning. And it continues to go up. It will continue to go up. And that's gonna help so many people's lives. And you can see it right there. You don't have to take the word of a pathological liar. It's an actual empathic human being raising money. And we've got a little bit of a video of him explaining what it's gonna be used for here.
Do you know how you're gonna go about doing that?
So my first phase is what I'm doing is this weekend, my teammates and I, we have semi-trucks rolling in from out of town that we've filled up. We have about 9 semi-trucks that are gonna come into town, and we have those all filled with stock supplies, water, food, clothing, everything. So we're gonna give that out this weekend. That's our first step. And then I'm gonna regroup after this weekend because obviously, like I said, I was planning for 200,000, and now with a new plan for multi-millions, I'm gonna make sure that I get with the people that did Katrina and that learned from Katrina so that I can make sure I do it right. Because with these people trusting me with their money, I wanna make sure that I don't do it hastily. I wanna do it exactly the right way. And I want people to know that that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna take my time to make sure I do it right, because I wanna do right by these people that need it, and I also want to do right by the people that trust me with their money.
Yeah, and you saw there in the graphic, you carrying is /JJ Watt. You can go there or you can Google it if you want to also donate.
So JJ Watt, arguably the best defensive player in the NFL. I have no idea.
I was gonna say that, I just didn't think we had time.
Oh yeah, obviously plays for the Houston Texans, which John was also gonna tell you.
I did know that.
And I have no idea what his politics is, but now I love the guy. And I think part of the reason that they have given him a lot of money is because people care and they're good human beings. And partly because we've become so jaded by our lying politicians that you have I have a sense that, again, not knowing a thing about JJ Watt, his politics as a person, I don't know anything about him, right? Other than he's excellent at defense, is that you get a sense this guy's rich. He's an athlete in the area, and he's actually doing it for the right purposes.
Yeah.
And he's actually going to get them blankets in a pickup truck, and he's actually going to get them food and things they need. Whereas the $6 billion coming from the government is a good thing. The people of Houston really need it, as long as it doesn't go to the companies. But exactly, we don't know. A lot of that money is probably going to get funneled to ExxonMobil for their oil refineries. And we've grown jaded by our incredibly corrupt politicians.
Yeah.
So when a guy like JJ Watt does it, they're like, yes, I'll give him money. That makes sense. I think he'll actually give it in aid to the people who need it.
Exactly.
So I know nothing about JJ Watt. I didn't even know he existed prior to right now. Okay, so but what I love about what he's doing is that it's illuminating the fact that there are a lot of really great people in this country, probably in other countries. I don't know if they can donate, internationally, but the fact that he raised that much money is telling, right? I think with everything that's going on, with the rhetoric that we're seeing, with the hate rallies that are happening, we lose sight of the fact that there are so many great people who do want to look out for one another. And for anyone who donated, anyone who's actually part of the relief efforts, who's volunteering their time and their resources, thank you. You give me hope personally, and I hope we continue taking care of one another.
All right, last couple of thoughts on this. I'm now going to trade for the Texans defense in honor of JJ Watt in my fantasy football team. And in all seriousness, Donald.
You own a football team?
Yeah, I do.
In his fantasies.
Yeah, exactly. It is a fantasy football team. So Donald, going back to Donald Trump for a second, he is not rich. He said that he has $10 billion. If you have $10 billion, $1 million is nothing. The fact that he has already retracted his offer to give it out of his own personal money and they're backpedaling out of that, you don't even have $1 million. If you have $10 billion, you are the worst person on earth for trying to backpedal out of your $1 million pledge.
That's nothing.
$1 million for us is all the money in the world. For if you have $10 billion, it's nothing. It's nothing. Do you know they Think Progress tracked how much money Trump has actually given to charity? It is 0.00013% of his income.
Well, that's what Jesus said you should donate.
Yes, I remember it.
I remember that
Numbers,
psalm.
Yeah, Numbers 2. TYT membership gets you commercial-free Young Turks. Download it, stream it, podcast it, get all the network shows, and support independent media. TYTnetwork.com/join.